Why is that later?
Okay, because we have to approve our question first. So there are some that we have to change.
Sure.
Yeah.
Up to you.
Nah, tak boleh.
Okay.
Oh, dah record ke? Oh, dah record ke?
Oh, dah record ke? Okay. So, hi. Basically, this interview is for the subject of issues and ethics in counselling. It is for our minor project. So, what are we required to do is that we have to interview a certified counsellor to collect information regarding their practice in a counselling setting. So, the first question, what are your credentials?
I've obtained a Master in Counselling from University of Malaya, and currently I'm doing under the counselling as well, PhD. What we call that, the major in education, but my focus is on positive psychology and counselling.
So for the next question is, how long have you had your counselor license?
Oh, my license since 2012, so I think that's more than 10 years.
So, what issues have you experienced before, like in your counselling career?
Because I focus more into the students, so it is different if you focus on the marriage counseling or and any other part of the counseling, like for kids or something like that. For the students, for example, of course we have got so many issues. Some of the issue, will make me feel so surprised because. Like narcissism or the sexual disorder, sometimes I didn't believe that it will happen to our client or the student. But in fact, they have got a lot of the cases like that. It is not only narcissism. I do have some of the issue with the ethics, especially when the client fall in love with the counselor. Then that will be an issue that I have to terminate or refer the client to the other counselor.
Okay. So, what ethical mistakes do you think are commonly done by fresh graduate counsellors?
I think that now we can see, like if you go to the school when I do a supervision, especially to supervise the counselor in the school, where they have a problem about the confidentiality. They always try to share with the other people whatever the problems happen to the students, especially the secondary students. So when you try to share with the students, it seems that you break already the promise and then the confidentiality of that. So I think that they've got a lot of the cases like this where the people, they don't trust the counselor anymore because of this thing. Looks like a stigma among the students or the clients.
So have you ever made an ethical mistake yourself, or maybe you're almost making an ethical mistake during your counseling?
So far, because we as a counselor, as a licensed and authorized counselor, so that means we have to follow exactly the code of the counseling, from the Lembaga Counselling Malaysia or the Board of the Counselling Malaysia. So far, that is a benchmark that you cannot go beyond or less or anything, try to, what we call that, try to do something bad, or try to follow some of a different thing which is stated in the rules and the regulation in the code. I think that sometimes even though I try to blend a few theories to the students, but the students still it doesn't work because some of the students with a different personality, you have to understand that they cannot control their own problem. Some of them, they can go back and they can think about it, and then after that they can solve the problem. Some people who are very melancholia or very phlegmatic or very sanguine, they have a difference. So I can notice that from the code of the counseling, it doesn't mean that you can apply all those theory haphazardly, but you have to make sure as well some of the people, they really want an advice because they don't know what to do. So if you try to use a reality therapy, for example, which is WDEP, it doesn't work to some of the students, okay? Because they don't know, because they say that I'm coming here because I want you to tell me what I'm supposed to do. So sometimes I think that because we are not supposed to give an advice, you know, we're not ustaz, you see. So sometimes we still have give a direction and advice what to do. Yeah.
So the next question is, based on your experience, what is the implication when a counselor brings a code of ethics?
I think that if you refer to a few cases, I think that in America, I taught the students about the counseling ethic as well. If the counselor, for example, didn't warn if something, you know, from the client try to harm themselves or harm others, or they try to, they have got three things where they try to harm themselves, harm others, and what another one? Dia orang cuba mencederakan diri mereka ataupun mencederakan orang lain, ya. Satu lagi apa, mencederakan ataupun orang lain mencederakan mereka, okay, harm by others. So actually, when the client already inform you that they have this intention that dia orang nak cederakan orang, macam ada case berlaku di Amerika, very famous, dia come back from Brazil and then dia punya tunang nak bunuh dia perempuan, dan tunang tu cakap pada counselor, tetapi counselor tu tak warn the family members about that thing. So in the ethic, what we call that, you have to warn the people, you have to inform, macam police ke somebody else. That is very important dalam counselling. Lagi satu, kalau macam court yang suruh you reveal the, even though it is confidential, so memang you kena reveal lah benda tu, sebab benda tu penting. Ada satu case which was berlaku kat Bandar Utama, budak perempuan tu bunuh diri lepas jumpa counselor. Sebab counselor is just a human, you have to understand that dia pun penat dah kot waktu tu, and then at that time she said that, ikut suka you lah, pergilah mampus. You know, some people, this is because of their attitude, so because people also stress and they have got a lot of problem, so they memang betul-betul pergi terjun, you know, then you will be charged, you know, boleh kena penjara sebagai counselor, bukan budak-budak. They will be back to the court of ethics, nanti dia ada satu macam discussion, dan mungkin kita akan kena tahu. Yeah.
So was there any instances where you had to terminate the client?
Yeah, like just now I told you that when I had a few clients that tried to message me at night, you know, you can smell already the feelings which are different, because sometimes when I use a Rogerian technique, you know, like Carl Rogers, which is a person-centered client, where it is very nice, you know, it's very understanding, unconditional positive regard, full of empathy, which is very good, never have a judgmental and so on. It will make the other people think that I am the one and the only and the unbeatable man in this world. Actually, I'm not like that, you know. I just follow the therapy or the technique. So when I meet the client like this, so they will love to talk to me, and then they will call me at night, you know. So I have to terminate this type of a client, because in the code of the ethic as well, if you refer from the Baga Council of Malaysia, you cannot have any relationship with the client in 2 years, you know. After 2 years, only you can have that relationship with your client. For example, like this year, your last session with the client, then another 2 years, only you can have a relationship if you want. Okay, there is no issue with that. But you have to follow the code. So I terminated the client, and finally I refer to my friends who are also registered and licensed counselor.
So, how do you manage your boundaries with your client?
In terms of?
As you said, like relationship, feelings, or maybe like just in general when you are in counseling.
Okay. So I think that practice makes perfect, and experience will make you learn a lot of things. Of course, you have to go through a lot of experiences so that you will understand how are you going to handle some of difficult client. We call this type of difficult client, it is not only the client who are silent all the time, client who are very rude, client who are manipulative, client are talkative. They have got so many type of, we call a difficult client, or client is easily fall in love with you or something like that. So I mean, I think the experience is very important. When I handle the client, for example, I will give the consent form and explain to them. We follow the ethical thing where in the beginning we have to follow the relationship building. One of the relationship buildings element is the what we call that you have to give a structuring where you have to inform that this is a counseling session and I am your counselor today, so that you can share anything. But if you try to harm yourself or harm others, or somebody else try to harm you, so that I cannot guarantee there will be a confidential. So when you already inform them about the what we call that rules and regulation before you start, there's a consent form, and then the rules and regulations are very important before you go to the session in the counseling.
So, have you ever experienced the need to break the confidentiality because of the client's because of the client or someone is need for safety?
I do have the clients. She was raped by her father, stepfather, if not mistaken. So she told me that please don't tell anybody, because she didn't want to the other issue become very worse, in the future and so on. But I'm sorry to tell that I said that if you try to harm, in the beginning just now I explained to you that if you try to harm yourself, if somebody try to harm me, I cannot guarantee that will be confidential, because law is above all. Law is above all. So we did the police report, and we launched the police report because of that, and the stepfather was arrested by the police, because this is to curb or to stop from this thing happen to the other sibling, the adik lagi perempuan, maybe the stepfather will rape, them, So I think that law is above all. Then if something happen, even though they say to you that you cannot tell this thing, please lah, they're begging, because we have to make sure that what we call that, we follow the law. Okay. Yeah.
So what do you suggest to improve the ethics among counselors?
I believe that they should follow more training, and during the practical, maybe the supervisor didn't supervise them effectively, because sometimes only they will come and supervise the counselor wannabe, we call that. So when they become the counselor, I can see that lack of the theory, lack of a lot of things, lack of the process of the counseling, lack of even the way how to do some consolidation and termination also, it is a big failure, I can see that. So what we have to do is give more practical thing, so that we can see how they counsel the client with a different problem. This is not only about emotion. Maybe some of the clients, they have got problem about behavior, disciplinary action, immoral activity and so on. So when you practice, it will make perfect, and that will be very good, and follow exactly what the Lembaga Counselor Malaysia give, especially the code of counseling. Right? Any other thing?
Sorry.
Sure.
So as we all know, we are in Malaysia and we have to follow the rules of Lembaga Counselling Malaysia, right?
Betul.
However, for example, there is a rise of a case where it does not really specified in the LKM. So can we refer to any other country punya ethics
I think that what LKM did was they also took the code from the other country. Okay, so at that time, if you follow the history of the counselling in Malaysia, so of course some people also maybe copy exactly what the United States of America did. I think that as long as you didn't breach any rules or you just follow exactly what we call that the process of the counselling, so there is no issue to take from the other code from the other country. As long as we know how to develop, because our main objective in the counselling is we want to promote growth. We want them to develop. As long as they get out from the room and then they can think themselves, they can develop themselves, they can promote growth, it shows something good, you know, that we really fulfill all the requirement given. Right? So to me, that if you follow even in Singapore, I used to supervise some of the council in Singapore as well. I think that is slightly different only, but it's quite similar. We still can do the same thing. Only you have to learn about multicultural counselling, because people with high cultural context and low cultural context will be different. Japanese students are different, you know, American people and black people, you know, the way they talk to you, you know, very straightforward. Some of you, if you are a new counsellor, you feel very offended or you cannot handle that. But practice make perfect, and if you follow exactly whatever the LKM or the other country code, as long as we want them to develop, so I think that's okay. Right? Anything else?
I have a question. So sometimes during counselling session, can some of the client will project their tools, so it's called transference.
Okay.
So how do we make sure that we didn't like counter transference? Because sometimes the counsellor dia macam terlalu empathize dengan the client punya masalah. So it's to the point that they become counter transference. So how do you avoid that kind of
Well, you have to go back to the professionalism. You have to be professional when you, because this is a professional counsellor. We do have a license. It looks like ACC. I mean, accountant. You know, only both only got this type of the license. We call it. So if you if the transference happen and then you don't know how to counter, and then suddenly they have a counter transference from your side, that will be very bad because you don't know how to in charge the client. I agree that some clients are very seductive or very beautiful, because at the end of the day we are just a human, you know. So that means sometimes, especially my friends, you know, we are counselor in Shah Alam. They fall in love with some of the clients who are really cute, really always cry, always show the what we call that melancholia symptoms, you know. Then people will feel sad, and then after that, and you know all the problem already, what happened, so that means you try to masuk jarum lah, orang kata kan. Actually that is a counter transfer. You supposed to refer to the other counsellor, because you just said that I am so sorry that I have to terminate. You can give a few excuses like I did last time, that I cannot in charge for this type of marriage cases because I'm more into the student problems. So that means I will refer you to Miss Nuzha. She is also the registered and authorized counsellor. So that means you can refer. I give to her. So that means I think that the relationship ended there. Professional. Yeah. Okay. Any other thing? This is the time that you can ask anything for your future as well. It's not only, you know, for the assignment. Maybe you want to know more to clear what are the things that you learn is just a theory. Now you meet the real people who are really practical in your counselling. Apa lagi soalan nak tanya? Boleh tanya tak sebenarnya soalan tu?
Ya. Personally
boleh. You nak tahu apa yang you belajar sama you not really clear. So that means about counselling or anything you can go later.
So like, have you like ever have a client where the client also have other counselor from like not the same counselor?
Before that?
Yeah. So do you like collaborate with the counselor, or it's just an ex-counselor session with the client, or like the client have the same macam ni nak cakap counselor yang lain juga, tapi session dia masih sama with you, like dalam masa yang sama.
Satu klien tu ada 2 kaunselor.
Oh.
Okay, macam dia jumpa 2 doktor lah.
Ah.
Kan, macam dia jumpa 2 doktor. Itu pilihan dia lah because they pay, right? Okay, so to me, I have my own point of view and my own theory. So, sometimes it will be different. Maybe I'm using a transactional analysis, or the psychoanalysis, or the reality therapy, or PCC, RABT, CBT, and so on. So sometimes the other counselor, maybe they use a different technique. So I used to have the student who depression. Most of the students who have depression, they always have a few counselor, or they have met many counselor before this. But sometimes you are so lucky that after they're meeting you, then they would love to see you again and again. That means they trust that counselor, because sometimes back to the human, as a human, some of the people sometimes, the way they handle the client, maybe it is not fulfill the benchmark or the requirement. I do have the student. Yeah.
So macam kalau nak dia jumpa 2 counselors at the same time, would be like, since both of the counselors are different, right? So ada ke macam klien tu kata, I jumpa counselor ni, dia kata macam ni sebenarnya, tapi bila jumpa you cakap macam ni pula, ada ke?
Memang macam dekat hospital kita bagi report sama juga dengan di hospital bagi report kan, kita pun bagi report juga. So we have to learn how to write down the report. For example, I do have a Thailand student. I still remember that he has a problem with his auntie. His auntie tried to seduce him. You've got a lot of the cases like that, for example. And then dia pernah jumpa juga counselor yang lain, dan counselor lain cakap with a different technique. Tapi when I write down the report and finally it is about RABT, it's supposed to apply RABT, so ikut report tu lah. Kalau dia jumpa counselor tu lebih muda, macam misal saya dah umur 50, jadi dia baru umur 30, takkanlah dia nak lawan orang umur 50. Kita punya, kau masuk TV berapa kali? Okay, macam tu. Jadi kau masuk TV berapa kali? Kau berapa lama dah supervise? Kau berapa lama dah jadi counsel? Kau baru umur 30, mesti kau baru 2 tahun only you got the license, betul tak? Lepas tu bila, when we check, we write down a very full and detailed report, dia pun kadang-kadang tengok balik, dia kata, so sorry, they call balik, dia kata, betul tak, I agree with you that as a counselor, of course lah, normally they are very PCC lah. I agree with you that this Thai student has an issue that we're supposed to use REBT, the Rational Emotive Behavior Therapy. Dia macam tengok seniority lah. Kau doktor lokum nak lawan dengan pakar bedah jantung, contoh, bukan kita kata kita pandai, tapi kan you tengok seniority lah. That mean the other people have more experience, you understand? So that mean it is like that. I also practice the same thing. Sometimes ada je dia kata, saya ni dah banyak kali dah jumpa, macam orang kena rasuk lah, dah banyak kali jumpa bomoh ni. Tapi mungkin dia jumpa kita bomoh yang lain. Kita adalah bomoh yang lain. Jadi when dia jumpa kita, and then after that dia kata, can I schedule another session with you? So that we can understand that it works for her or the client. Betul tak? So betul lah, tak ada masalah. Tulis je report, bagi report.
So you said that you use many theory, right? So like, may I know how did you decide what therapy theory that you use? Is it like after the first session, or maybe you need like 2 sessions so that you can decide what therapy that you need to use?
It depends. If I use reality therapy, it is very fast and very simple by William Glasser. That what do you want in your life? Right? So what are you doing to get what you want? Right? Do you think that what you want can make you feel happier and closer to the people based on the case? And then after that, you just do it. That is very simple because they are the one who give the idea what they want, correct or not? But if you try to use a psychoanalysis or you try to use CBT, maybe you need 2 or 3 sessions. Sometimes I've got until 7, 8 sessions. with the client, because as long as they have got progress. So back to your question, you want to know how, we back to the counseling process. The first one is the relationship building, correct? The second one is exploration. The third one is consolidation. After you, the second one, explore the student, you know already this, you drive already the problems. This is about emotion, or the problem it is about action, or the problem about cognitive. So when it's about cognitive, you know what is the technique that you're supposed to do. If you go into the emotion, you know already what are the theory that you're supposed to apply for this student. This is under the third one, consolidation, where you already affirm that what are the theory that you want to use. But sometimes I blend the theory. Sometimes I got 2 or 3 theory. It doesn't matter. You can blend CBT and PCC. You can blend REBT and also reality therapy. Can, no problem. As long as back to the main objective, the student, the client can develop, the client can promote growth and then become better. Because when you learn psychoanalysis about conscious, unconscious, from unconscious to conscious, when you learn about the what we call that REBT, Albert Ellis, from the irrational belief to rational belief. As long as from irrational you become rational. From unconscious, from PCC, the what we call Carl Rogers said that congruent. From incongruence to congruence. You know, this is a simple thing. The masalah is just use some of the words only. As long as the client develop and they become better, so why not? So we just use the theory. That's how we use it.
Doctor, I have 2 questions. So the first one is, in your long years of being a counsellor, majoritarily, which theory that you use a lot for your clients, like in general?
Okay, for the students, normally I will be, I try to expedite the process because I don't like to wait for 45 minutes to 1 hour. So I will use a William Glaser, reality therapy or choice therapy. That will be very simple. But if the client cry, I cannot use the reality therapy. Takkan orang tengah menangis, what do you want? You know, tak sesuai. Then I back to PCC. PCC to me is a compulsory because Carl Rogers or Rogerian technique trying to ask the counselor to apply a very good things, which that is what the human want. Human want people who are understanding. Congruence the mind. Congruence mean when you try to talk to me, I never blame you or try to betul ke bapak you macam tu, betul ke you punya boyfriend macam tu, ke you yang ada masalah. You cannot do that because PCC is very nice, very understanding, full of empathy, you know, never perceive negatively, betul tak? Don't judge people at all. Kau gay ke, kau pakai baju koyak ke, kau lesbian ke, we will accept no matter what. You understand? We just give a hug and then you know life goes on, okay? You just do whatever you want to do. Ada banyak je kes-kes budak yang masochist, sexual disorder, pedophilia, nakutkan kalau dengar. Tapi kita guna PCC tu wajib, yang lain-lain tu misal banyak guna CBT dengan reality therapy. I think that if you become a counsellor, you have to master at least 5. At least 5. There are 13 theory or the technique that you have to learn. At least 5. When you master 5, I think that you don't have an issue. How to handle the client. When they start already sharing, sometimes you have to maneuver or drive first what is the main problem which disturb their mind, number 1, and disturb their emotion. So from that we know, because sometimes the client will go here and go there, tell about the problem here, problem there. Actually that's not the big issue. The big issue that she fought with her mom this morning. That's why her emotion being disturbed and also her action being disturbed today. But she try lah kata, Pak Gad tu suka kacau dia lah, apalah, yang mula masalah ni lah, Zul kacau dia lah. Sebenarnya bukan masalah tu. As a counsellor, you mesti professional dan mesti cakap untuk drive dia jadi cepat untuk selesaikan masalah tu. I pakai lah related therapy.
Okay. And the second one is, I think it's just a short question.
Okay.
So I believe I believe like this for me, but I believe there are some clients that does not want to be alone in the client room, so they may want to bring their friend or their mother or their siblings into. What is your opinion on that? Do you allow that or how?
When we do a family counselling, I used to have the parents who stay inside, but if he is just underage lah. But I think that it is not what we call that. It is not encouraged to do the things. You know why? Because later the client minds will follow exactly what the other people. But if you have the client who really wants to share the secret, better you don't do that, because in the counseling session normally we have one-to-one session. Okay, because this is not a group counseling like this. You understand? So when she's with another people, they have got a lot of secret thing that she doesn't want to share. You understand? We call to reveal the real things, like what's really happened to him. So I used to see sometimes they try to be, but I asked to wait outside because I don't want to influence the client, and then I think that it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Yeah. But if the parents, also sometimes parents try to answer. I asked the kids, not, I said that, mother, that's very good that you tried, but when I asked the client, you didn't. Because she tried to answer all the questions. Can you imagine that what happened actually to the kid? You know, have a very low self-esteem because of the mother. So I asked the mother to get out from the alright? Okay? Anything else? Itu je?
Anything else?
Anything else? Anything yang you belajar tu, I thought sometimes bila you belajar, you tak clear. You belajar the theory, kan?
I have a question. So macam counselor ni, dia cannot like directly give advice to client macam kata you kena buat sesuatu macam ni. You have to like guide them to make their own decision, kan? But sometimes clients are like so blur, dia macam still tak tahu juga walaupun a lot of counselling session. So how are we supposed to guide them to make that decision?
I agree with you where sometimes, like I told you just now, that this is depend on their personality. The people who have a very super introvert, you can't use a reality therapy a lot and try to, because they are not talkative. They are one question that you ask, one question they answer. Because they are super introvert, always lock their themselves in the house, being isolated and so on. So I will give like some idea. For example, if you have got an issue with your mother, is there anybody that your mother respect? Like your, I think that it is not in the technique, but it's based on my experience, using the third party to help to solve the problem. So is there anybody that your mother respect, or your mother will listen, because you told me that your mother is very what we call that fierce and so on. So I said that, oh, my uncle, but I'm very close to, why don't you try to talk to your uncles? Oh yeah, I didn't think about it. So I will try to talk to my uncle, and my uncle will try to talk to his sister, and then I think the problem being solved. So you have to be smart when you see the issue. I don't know what type of issue. If you tell me issue, then some people who are very super introvert, I will teach them, because they're blur, like you said. They don't know. And then they keep asking, why I'm coming here if you ask what do I want to do? You know, or you use PCC. PCC even cannot give any advice, any solution. PCC is just like being a good listener, understanding, because that's what humans want. But some people who are very different personality, or like I used in Hart University last time when I was in KDU, Hart University, you know, like this type of student. They are very flamboyant, and you know, they are very they're different. They're extrovert. So they say that I just don't agree with this. I just don't, because they can express. So that means for this type of people, you change lah. They said that. So I believe that yeah. And then if the slow people, you cakap macam ni, katalah Roger Lane, you kata macam dia kata, saya datang sini nak buat counselling, tapi cik kata saya you yang ada masalah. Macam mana saya nak selesaikan masalah, kan? You ada masalah dan you kena fikir. That's why in Roger Lane dia cakap macam ni, I wish I could help you, but you are the one who having the issue. What you want to do? Back to dia balik, supaya dia yang cerita. Sebab you boleh survive pun dalam umur 22 ni, masalah you selama ni apa yang you buat? Faham tak? So dia kata lah, oh sometimes dia kata I go to the park, I walk. Dia kata lepas tu I selalu beli mainan, buat benda yang anime punya, macam-macam lah. So keep doing lah the activity. So kita secara langsung dia dah bagi idea sikit, kita masuk lah, kita masuk jarum. That's the way. Kalau personality dia memang super extrovert, lebih baik ambil PCC. Dengar je sebab dia nak orang dengar dia. Oh dia suka punya, I tak faham lah dengan bapa I memang suka paksa I macam-macam. I kena buat I kalau bapa bukan bagi I duit pun. Kita tekan. Betul tak patut bapa you buat macam tu. They love it because of their personality. Tapi kalau dia introvert, walaupun flamboyant rambut contoh aja, bukan pakai kata Moizat. Dia introvert, dia tak suka yang macam itu tu. Dia pun tak faham, dia pun banyak dalam dia banyak. Dia betul dia ni dalam orang datang nak tanya. Dia lot of overthinking is there. That is normal based on the personality. You have to go through the experience then you will learn. Okay? Am I answer the question? Right. Itu je? Alright. So,
Itu je? Okay.
itu je. Thank you so much. Alright. Nak ambil gambar ke Syana? Selalu
Bisa.
sekali ambil gambar, membuktikan kepada lecturer.
Boleh,
Kita record sikit.
Yeah.
Alright.